Hello everybody, it's me, it's your boy Jimmy, and is Sonic Frontiers a good game? Well, I just beat it on the PS5 about a few days ago, and I definitely have some thoughts. Now, there are some Sonic fans that are really hyping this up and saying this is Game of the Year. And do I think it's Game of the Year? No, absolutely not. Far from it. However, on the opposite side, there's a lot of people hating on this game, and honestly, it doesn't deserve that either. It's a fun game. So yeah, I'm kind of somewhere in the middle. I don't think it's Game of the Year, and I don't think it's bad. And I would say overall, although it started a little rough, I had fun with it. Let's talk about this game in more detail though, starting with the first world, and I felt like this was kind of empty. Although I did enjoy fighting the various mini-bosses and the main boss in this, and I found the other worlds were improvements over this one, with the third world in particular being my favorite. And in general, I just found as this game went along, I was getting more invested in it, to the point where I wanted to finish it, and I was enjoying myself. And sure, the worlds might look a little clunky because there's a bunch of structures just dropped into them, but it was also very fun to run around as Sonic and go on these structures. It was genuinely a ton of fun grinding on gems, and I loved just leveling up as Sonic and learning new combos. It made the combat in this game more interesting than I thought it would be. And most worlds end with you going Super Sonic and fighting a boss, and those moments are fantastic. No complaints here, a ton of fun. Not only does it feel great going Super Sonic and comboing enemies, but there's this really over-the-top emo rock music playing over every boss fight, and it's really fun. I'm not gonna lie, as over-the-top as it is, it's hard not to have fun during those boss fights. I had a huge smile on my face during it, and it's easily one of the highlights of the game. And speaking of highlights of the game, the cyberspace levels are fantastic. They just look beautiful, and it overall feels pretty great. It always gives me a rush speeding through those levels as Sonic. Although there were a few levels that did give me a hard time, without spoilers, in particular the one towards the end that I'll just say involves some spikes. Fuck that one. But overall, the cyberspace levels were a ton of fun, and I was always looking forward to doing more. And yeah, this game was just honestly fun. And the story isn't anything fantastic. It's very over the top and melodramatic, but even the story has a charm to it. I had a fun time with it, and without spoilers, the ending was giving me more emotion than I thought it would. There are definitely some flaws with this game though. It's not perfect or even great by any means. For one, the controls can at times be questionable. Not sure if it was me, but I felt like the boost jump in particular could be a little clunky at times. It's not so bad that it ruins the game, it's just more of a annoyance at times. Also, the open worlds were solid but nothing fantastic. There could have been a bit more to do, especially in the first one. One huge complaint I do have though is when you're running through these worlds as Sonic, sometimes structures will just randomly render in and it looks kind of atrocious. As some reviews have pointed out, it feels like when things would randomly render in front of you in an N64 game and it takes you out of the experience. That's a comparison that I've heard a few reviewers make and that I generally agree with. In the game in general, it doesn't look fantastic. However, it doesn't look terrible either. It could look a lot worse if we look at some other games from some big franchises that have come out very recently. But overall, I can't hate on this game too much because Sega really tried. I felt like the developers here were really trying to make an interesting and new Sonic game, and I really applaud them for that. If you look at the past few Sonic games, they've been very lackluster, but this one really changes things up, and they really tried to make a good game, and for the most part they succeeded, and I thought it was a good effort. I'm so sick of complaining about games not having a lot of content or being not finished, but if we look at this game, it took me about 20 to 30 hours to beat it, with multiple open world areas and great boss battles, and just overall a good time. I felt the developers really cared here, and I think that's awesome, especially combined with the fact that they announced new free DLC next year. They're going to be adding more modes, more story. I think that's amazing, and I applaud Sega for that. So overall, I think if you're a Sonic fan, or if you're just a casual Sonic fan, I'd recommend getting this game. Not at $60, it's more like a $40 game. However, I think there was a price drop, so maybe you don't have to worry about that. But I think for $40, this is a good deal. However, if you're not a Sonic fan, I don't know if I'd recommend this game. This game's fun, but it's not a great game. So yeah, if you're not a fan of Sonic, I don't think this is the game that's gonna win non-Sonic fans over. But if you are a Sonic fan, I'd recommend this. And if I was gonna give it a rating, I'd definitely recommend it, just not overwhelmingly recommend it. I think I'll say I would give this game a light 7 out of 10. There we go. 7 out of 10 for Sonic Frontiers. But more importantly, did any of you play it? And if so, what did you think? Please comment your opinions down below. And also on this channel, we usually do Nintendo content. So if you enjoy that, please subscribe. And I'll see you all in the next video.